Visuals on your screens reinforce the unparalleled goodwill that India and Russia share. That goodwill is personified by the deep connect between Prime Minister Modi and President Putin. Modi surprised Putin with his, quote, unexpected, unquote, gesture of showing up in person at the airport to greet his, quote, dear friend, unquote. Viewers, the Russians are absolutely surprised by this rare gesture of warmth and friendship, and they have taken it to heart in a good way. The two leaders shared a warm hug, and you can see that very clearly, and a firm handshake. PM's gesture stands out even more when one considers that the summit is taking place despite US pressure on India to contribute to the Western effort to isolate Russia. But these pictures of India literally rolling out the red carpet for his friend Putin is a clear signal to Trump and other twitchy Western capitals that Delhi won't surrender its strategic autonomy. If Trump is watching, Trump is unlikely to be pleased. But viewers, his feelings don't really matter. And this is quite clear. He's seeing each of his red lines being breached or redrawn. What was Trump hoping? Trump was hoping that India would no longer trade with Russia, specifically energy, because this would be seen as indirectly supporting Russia's war. What is another Trump red line? That India is continuing to source Russian military hardware or arms is a red flag. Engaging Russia defeats US strategy of working to diplomatically isolate Russia, specifically when the US is forcing some kind of détente between Russia and Ukraine. Russia-India bonhomie assertion of non-West viewed as a challenge to US hegemony. And India's continued reluctance to criticize Russia's aggression in Ukraine a source of annoyance. For decades, Western capitals have viewed Eastern nations not as equal partners, but as resources to be tapped, shaped, or co-opted. Japan's post-war recovery was micromanaged by Washington. China's entry into the global trading system was encouraged only as long as it served Western supply chains and cost structures. During the 1997 Asian financial crisis, Western institutions prescribed harsh reforms while ignoring the volatility created by their own capital flows. The West's approach is paternalistic, some would say, viewers. At least that's the view from India. The East may rise, but only if it doesn't exceed the West. Clearly, India and Russia aren't about to accept limits. One is a rising power, the other an established one, yet both have watched their strategic priorities dismissed or downgraded in Western conversations. Modi in particular has been firm in rejecting Western paternalism. Yet careful not to sound anti-West, Modi has defined India as simply non-West. In doing so, he is hoping that the West understands, that DC in particular understands that Delhi will set its own national priorities. It will decide who it partners with, and it will choose its economic and strategic engagements on its own terms, but never against anyone. So far, friends, so far, New Delhi's optimism has been blunted by Trump. Why, viewers? Because Trump thinks he can bully New Delhi and Modi and a billion Indians into a corner. He's forgotten, viewers, that India is the pivot to the Indo-Pacific. Nothing can happen. No power projection if you don't have, or India doesn't have, to be more precise, your back. Let's open this conversation up because this is an important global moment, viewers, and we need to examine it from different lenses. So we've got the American lens, we've got the Russian lens, we've even got the Indian lens, and we're going to look at it for what it is. One of those turning points. And I want to engage first and foremost with guests who have come through from Washington. Timothy Roma is with us. He's former US ambassador to India and former US representative. Dr. Sergei Markov, journalist and former advisor to Putin from Moscow. Kamal Sipal, former Foreign Secretary of India, will be joining us in just a few moments. Surya Jayanti, non-resident senior fellow at the Atlantic Council, also here with us. So hefty voices, important voices on an important day. I want to first begin with you, Mr. Roma. I have to say that Trump has really messed up, hasn't he? Big time. Trump was hoping that he could dictate the terms of India's foreign policy, how it approaches it. But that hasn't happened, despite New Delhi making it very clear that we're not anti-West. That fundamentally we just want a little bit of our own strategic autonomy to do things which are in our own national interests. That hasn't gone down well. And Trump, unfortunately, is not looking very good for it. What do you say?
Well, nice to be on your program, and certainly good to see your guests, especially Ambassador Sybil, who is a friend, former colleague. Look, the United States, going back to the Clinton administration, has deep and profound respect for India and its strategic autonomy. Just as the United States has the ability to reach out and have partnerships with different countries and express our strategic and geopolitical interests, we have shown that respect for India through the last several administrations, through Clinton, through Obama, through Bush, and Biden, and in the Trump administration, the first term. There's no question there are some strains in the relationship right now, given the ongoing trade negotiations in particular. I'm optimistic that we are going to get to a trade deal between the United States and India. I think there's several indicators and positive factors pointing to that trade agreement getting across the finish line in the next month or so, maybe before the 2026 time period. But let's also look at the strategic relationship between the United States and Russia. Certainly, Prime Minister Modi did the right thing in greeting President Putin at the airport. Nice gesture, smart thing to do. But once they get to Hyderabad House tomorrow to discuss details, there are going to be a lot of things that get into the nitty-gritty that are going to challenge Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin. Let's talk about a couple of them. One is oil. The Indians used to purchase about 2.5% of the Russian oil before the Ukraine war. That got up to 36%. That's going back down now. That's going to be something they talk a lot about, especially given the fact that the United States is pressuring countries for peace in Ukraine. Secondly, buying defense systems from the Russians. They bought 3 S-400 defense systems in 2018. I think only one of those has been delivered due to supply chain problems. We know the aircraft carrier that the Indians bought from Russia was over budget and not working well. There are problems in that relationship on oil, on defense, and then let's talk about China. China and Russia have a no limits partnership. That causes problems for India, and China sells all kinds of defense equipment to Pakistan, one of the rivals for India, particularly in the last few months. So a lot of difficult things for Mr. Modi and Mr. Putin to work through. The United States will continue to have a great relationship with India, and will continue to pressure Russia to come to peace agreements in Ukraine.
Mr. Roma, let's be very, very honest here. America's own approach to even Russia, for example, lacks what many people in India believe is moral rectitude. You want to do business with Russia, critical minerals and so on and so forth, even oil on the table. You want to engage Russia, you want to sit across the table and give them a sweet deal, cut out Ukraine, and you seem to have a grouse. I'm not saying you personally, but Trump seems to have a grouse. If India wants to engage with Russia and buy weapon systems, you in fact have cozied up to a terrorist state, Pakistan, hyphenated it once again with India. General Munir, a person who has said very clearly that he wants to wage jihad, not my words, his words, against India, is a state guest at the White House. You sell weapons, sir, to Pakistan. You also sell weapons to India. So what are we talking about? I feel that the powers that are in Washington, D.C. are looking extremely bad, very poor right now. They haven't been able to dictate terms to New Delhi. They can't get Russia to get off its high horse. They can't, frankly, even bring about a lasting, durable peace in Gaza. Trump's authority looks very compromised, sir.
Well, when you talk to me and to the United States of America about moral rectitude and trying to do the right thing as a global power, I am firmly confident and very optimistic about the role that the United States continues to try to play to create peace when Russia invaded Ukraine and took over its sovereignty and has attacked its people and attacked its prosperity and killed so many thousands of Ukrainian people going back to 2014. The United States is trying to play a positive role in bringing peace to that region of the world. The United States is trying to bring peace to the Middle East that has been at war for decades and decades and decades. And that's not an easy role for the United States to play. But I will continue to say that the United States and India have a very good and positive relationship. In fact, I served on the 9/11 Commission. I was one of the people who recommended that the hyphen be removed from the India-Pakistan relationship, and it has been.